When I was 7 years old, I discovered something about myself that I didn't even know existed. It was the reason for my constant illnesses as a kid and the cause for me always feeling like the sick kid among all my classmates, because if I even stood in a room where somebody coughed, I ended up getting what they had. What I had, underlying since the day I was born, was what was called Hashimoto thyroidism. Young 7-year-old me had no idea what that was, but it was found by accident after I'd gotten another case of strep throat on top of my pneumonia. My throat looked swollen, so the doctor decided to do an ultrasound. The result was an inflamed thyroid that needed medication as soon as possible. He handed my parents a written note of the only doctor who dealt with autoimmune illnesses, Dr. Plotkin. I still remember the day I visited her. Her office was located in Brownsville, a place I considered extremely far away as a kid because of how long it took to drive there. I tightly gripped my mother's hand as we entered what looked like a old mall complex. All the stores except Dr. Plotkin's were abandoned, and the only light down the long, eerie hallway was from the sunroof that shone patches of dull sunlight down on the old tiled floors. Dr. Plotkin's office, however, was bright and colorful with hand-painted zoo animals on the wall. I remember my favorite was the giraffe because it was tall as the ceiling and had the cutest smile on its face. When I finally met Plotkin, I realized she was an old Anglo lady who made me feel comfortable, even though I was absolutely terrified. She thoroughly checked my throat, jaw, and mouth to see what condition my thyroid was in. I was extremely confused on what was going on, having it been my first time being examined as such, but she comforted me and told me everything would be okay. I really enjoyed visiting her office because I always felt like it was home, and soon it almost became one. I was visiting Dr. Plotkin constantly after that, visit after visit. I always noticed that I was the youngest patient she had. She even told me that one day, that she had never had a patient as young as me, and I was shocked yet saddened to hear about that fact. I didn't understand the last part until I got older and realized how devastating Hashimoto thyroidism can be on the body, and having it start so young, especially before puberty where the hormones counter an already damaged thyroid, only made my situation worse. So, surrounded by groups of elderly people who sat in the same lobby room as I did, I felt utterly alone in my situation. I felt nobody could relate to me and how I felt, except Dr. Plotkin. Every time I visited, she would ask how I was feeling, and if I felt good, she would celebrate and tell me how happy she was. Whenever I felt horrible, she would talk to me about my medication and its side effects. Because the medication was taken daily and I wasn't used to it, I learned during those visits what side effects really were. She kept me on the same dosage, 0.25 milligrams, because of my age and condition of my thyroid. I was on the same dosage for years, always prescribed by Dr. Plotkin, until the time she retired, and I had no other choice but to go with another doctor. With that doctor, he was quick to up my dosage by 0.25, and soon after again with another 0.25 until I reached 0.75 milligrams, the dosage I'm at today. That action of increasing my medication caused a destructive chain of side effects that still affects my health to this day. At that time, I had never wished for a doctor more than Dr. Plotkin. I wanted to feel better, and my younger self felt I was the best in her care. Going through those emotions as a kid, confused about the medication I would take for the rest of my life, and finding comfort in a doctor who truly understood me, shaped me as a child to grasp some sense of what was happening to me. And for that, I will truly be grateful to Dr. Plotkin and her kindness in treating her youngest patient of all.